It all began in the early hours of July 30th. As the sun tried to rise over eastern China, dark skies swallowed Zhoushan and the surrounding coast. Typhoon Co-May had arrived. Winds howled, streets vanished under muddy waves. Families woke up to chaos. Within hours, homes were torn apart, and cars floated like paper boats through city streets. The nightmare didn't stop there. Zhejiang followed, flooded roads, collapsed walls, desperate evacuations. What was once calm turned into a war zone. And this was just the beginning. This is not a movie. This is real. This is Co-May, a storm that didn't knock. It broke the door down and left millions scrambling for shelter, answers, and hope. Typhoon Co-May didn't arrive quietly. It built up strength over warm ocean waters, feeding on moisture, gaining speed. By the time it struck Zhoushan, winds roared at over 100 kilometers per hour. Rain poured non-stop. In just 24 hours, some areas recorded more than 300 millimeters of rainfall. Rivers overflowed, hillsides loosened, drainage systems failed. It wasn't just a heavy rain, it was a siege. Street by street, hour by hour, water claimed the land. Weather alerts turned from yellow to orange, then red. Every update brought worse news. This wasn't seasonal. This wasn't normal. Co-May shattered the line between weather and disaster. It became a living force, a force that refused to stop. Zhoushan took the first hit. Entire neighborhoods disappeared under waves of floodwater. Cars stacked like toys against broken fences. Roads turned into rivers. Bridges cracked. Power lines snapped. Then came Ningbo. Mudslides tore down hillsides. Markets, schools, homes, all swallowed in minutes. In some towns, water reached the rooftops. Emergency sirens echoed through the night. Zhejiang province became a patchwork of isolation and destruction. Towns cut off, villages buried, families stranded on rooftops, waving for help. Every image, every scream, told the same story. This was not survivable without help. The scale of damage was beyond local response. It was a disaster too large for maps, too sudden for escape. These were not just affected areas. These were war zones. The water didn't just rise, it rushed. Flash floods tore through villages without warning. Concrete walls crumbled. Cars were lifted and thrown. People ran, barefoot, carrying only what they could grab. In the mountains, the earth gave way. Landslides buried roads, crushed homes, erased paths that had existed for generations. Rescue workers couldn't reach certain towns, not by land, not by air. Entire districts went dark. No signal, no power, no help. Bridges snapped in half. Communication lines went silent. What began as rain became a cascade of destruction, layer after layer. The land itself turned hostile. Rivers roared like beasts. Hills collapsed like paper. Co-May wasn't just a storm. It was a breakdown of the world people trusted. The storm didn't just take buildings, it took futures. Rice fields vanished under muddy water. Livestock drowned in barns. Family stores washed away in seconds. In the cities, buses floated, subways shut down. Streets became silent pools of oil, debris and shattered glass. Schools closed. Hospitals lost power. Water pumps failed. Families huddled in darkness, unsure when help would come. For the elderly, the sick, the children, survival became a question of time. Economies don't collapse in boardrooms, they collapse in silence. When crops rot, when factories flood, when no one can work. Co-May didn't just cause damage, it took daily life and ripped it apart. Every meal, every step, every breath, suddenly uncertain. When the storm hit, The countdown began. Thousands of rescue workers mobilized. Soldiers, firefighters, volunteers, racing against time. Shelters opened, boats launched, drones flew through heavy rain, searching for signs of life. In Shanghai alone, over 280,000 people were evacuated. Temporary camps rose overnight, but in many places, roads were gone. Helicopters couldn't land. Communication broke down. Rescuers walked through waist-deep water, carrying the weak on their backs. Each second meant the difference between life and death. No one slept. No one waited. The system moved, fast, desperate, human, people saving people. In the middle of destruction, hope still moved. And in every rescuer's hands, there was no politics, no hesitation, only the mission to save lives. This was not just a battle of people, it was a race of systems. Radar maps glowed with red zones, AI models predicted rainfall hour by hour, drones scanned rooftops for stranded families. Emergency alerts lit up phones across Zhejiang. Sensors buried in the ground warned of landslides before they struck. Bridges were closed in minutes. Highways rerouted in seconds. Every byte of data meant one more life protected. Technology became the eyes, the ears, the voice of warning. This wasn't the future. This was now. And without it, chaos would have been absolute. In storms like Co-May, tech is not a luxury. It's the last defense. Against the flood, against the silence, against the storm's blind rage. Even as waters slowly recede, the danger hasn't passed. Landslides still threaten mountain villages. Bridges remain unstable. Some towns are still cut off. No food, no power, no signal. Weather alerts stay active. Red zones expand with every shift in the soil. Authorities urge people stay home, stay alert, be ready to evacuate again. The air is heavy, not just with moisture, but with fear. Co-May has weakened, but its shadow lingers. Every drop of rain feels like a threat, every rumble a warning. Families sleep in shelters, listening for sirens in the night. The storm is not over, not yet. Its shape may have changed, but for many, the fight for survival is still happening, right now. The numbers are still rising. Homes destroyed, roads collapsed, farmlands drowned, schools and clinics turned to ruins. For many, there is no going back, only rebuilding from nothing. But recovery is not just about bricks. It's about memory, about loss, about the quiet weight people carry after disaster. Crews now clear debris, engineers inspect bridges, aid trucks arrive with blankets, water, medicine. But healing will take longer, weeks, months, maybe more. Children will ask why their home is gone. Parents will wonder how to begin again, and every rebuilt wall will remember the water. Co-May carved itself into the land, but also into lives, and those scars will take more than time to fade. Typhoon Co-May was not just a storm, it was a lesson, written in water, wind, and silence. Climate is changing, weather is no longer predictable, and nature no longer forgives delay. Early warning systems save lives. Strong infrastructure matters, but above all, community saves community. We must be faster, smarter, kinder, prepared not just for storms, but for the world they leave behind. This is not the last disaster, but it can be the one we learn from, the one that wakes us up. Stay informed, stay safe, and remember, when disaster strikes, it's not about strength, it's about connection. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and keep your eyes on the skies. The next storm is always closer than we think.